Hi and welcome to another Tutorial Tuesday. My name is Cece and today we're creating a Christmas card with these two stamps. One by Impression Obsession. It's a beautiful background stamp. We're going to use it in a very unusual way. And this beautiful sketchy stamp by Hero Arts, which we're going to jazz up a little bit. First, let me show you the sizes of the cardstock you're going to need to create today's project. This is navy blue cardstock. It is cut down to 4 1/4 by 11 inches, folded at the 5 1/2 inch mark. This is our card base. Then a second piece of the same blue cardstock that measures 2 3/8 by 3 5/8. Next, you're going to need some nice smooth stamping paper. I'm using Prism. This measures 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. You're going to need a second piece that measures 2 1/4 by 3 1/2. A piece of white textured cardstock that measures 2 5/8 by 3 7/8. And a second piece of white textured cardstock that measures 2 7/8 by 4 1/2. Okay, so today I have a lot of tips to share with you, and the first one is how to create your own glittery embossing powder. I have here a jar where I keep my, or a container where I keep my clear embossing powder. So this is straight up clear embossing powder, and I mixed it up with warm highlight microfine glitter. And here's what it looks like in the jar. I'm going to give you a close-up so that you can admire that glitter. Now what I did is I filled up, not completely, but maybe 3/4 of the way, my small container. As you can see, it's really small, with some clear embossing powder. And then I took a few scoops of the tip of that spoon there into the microfine glitter and dumped it in there and then mixed it up. You don't need a lot, a little goes a long way. And I created my own glittery embossing powder. And here's what it looks like when you emboss with it. You can see the gorgeous glitter and reflection. Everything is there. The glossiness of the clear embossing powder and the glitter. Okay, so on my work surface I have a piece of scrap paper ready to gather the leftover embossing powder. Then I have the 2 1/4 by 3 1/2 cardstock ready to be stamped on. And I have a VersaFine stamp pad in Olivia Green. VersaFine is embossable. It is a pigment-based ink as opposed to a dye-based ink. So it doesn't dry fast, so you're able to emboss with it. So I'm going to ink up the tray. And I'm going to stamp the tree a little bit off the paper. I don't want it in the middle. So in essence, the tree will be cut off. Beautiful. Next, I'm going to take our precious embossing powder that has glitter in it. Shake up the excess. And now I'm going to heat emboss this. And there it is. Look how gorgeous that is. Makes me happy. The next trick might be a little odd, but bear with me. I discovered this totally by mistake. I wanted to have, for the background of the card, a very subtle version of the Majestic Blue. I tried with the Majestic Blue with the snowflakes background stamp, and it was just too dark. It was overpowering our little tree. As I was cleaning my stamp, I decided to just clear emboss it. And lo and behold, some of that blue, even though I had cleaned it with a baby wipe, transpired through the clear embossing powder. And it was beautiful. So this is what I'm going to do, and here's what how you can achieve that. First, you're going to put some blue directly onto your stamp pad or your stamp, and I'm going to take a piece of scrap paper and remove most of it. Now, if you're working on multiple projects at the same time, now would be the time to get a beautiful dark blue background. But for the purpose of this video, I'm not going to bother. I'm just showing you how I've achieved this. Now, obviously, I wouldn't have had to do this step. I could have reused what I already had on there. I'm just showing you, though, how I created this. All right, so now I have a baby wipe, and I'm going to wipe off my stamp. And as you can see, I'm attempting to clean it as much as possible. But what will happen is the Versamark will bring up some of these, that color that still remains on the stamp. All right, now I'm going to bring in the Versamark. Now, it's very important that you have a very juicy Versamark pad, so I would suggest that you keep a re-inker at the ready, and then add some of that the re-inker to your pad. And I'm going to take the this is the 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 cardstock. I'm going to place this over where I have added the Versamark, and I'm going to take another piece of scrap paper, and this time I'm going to get a very good impression. Now, people are afraid to dirty up their Versamark pad. That's fine. I have 2 Versamark pads. I have one that remains clean for the times where I want a very clean, clear embossing powder, embossing project. And I have one that's dirty, and that's the one I'm using. So look how pretty this is. This is a light version of the dark blue. Now, before I go anywhere with this, I'm going to also emboss this piece with our beautiful glittery embossing powder, which is right here. And I also like the fact that I didn't get an even impression. I'll show you on the sides here. It kind of creates a little bit of a grungy, like a shabby chic background. As you can see here, I got places where it's uneven, and that's just perfect for me. Can you say, oh yeah, look at that. What can I say? Glitter makes me happy. How gorgeous. It's a beautiful, subtle background. It's the same blue as the cardstock, just a shade lighter. Now I'm going to bring back that tree image that we just stamped and embossed, and I'm going to clean up my stamp even more, because this time around I just want a ghost image of the snowflakes. If there's a little bit of blue showing, that's even better, but I really want something light. And I'm going to cover it up again with Versamark. Take the tree and pop it on there. Look at that. Perfect. This time I'm going to emboss with just my clear embossing powder, because I don't want too much glitter on this. So the fact that we have the tree there and it's already embossed, I don't know why I did this over the paper. I have a bucket. Because the tree is embossed, I like the halo that's created around the tree. That's because we don't have a completely smooth surface when we actually stamped the background. So I'm going to emboss this. Look how pretty that is. We've got the shine without the glitter, and then we have the glitter on the tree. last trick I want to show you is how to match exactly the cardstock with your work. Let's say it's 3 o'clock in the morning, the store's closed. You can't get that exact green cardstock that you're looking for to complete your project. Well, you've already got the ink that you used on the tree. So how about creating your own cardstock? Easy. You just take your piece of, this time I chose a textured cardstock because I wanted that uneven application. And I'm just going to take my pad and just go around. And this will give me an exact match for my card. Now you can choose to leave some of that texture showing through. You can do darker if you want to. I like it that way. I like it uneven. And before I use this piece, I'm going to make sure that it's dry. I've left white space in the middle because it will be completely covered up with the pieces on top. Before I go any further, I'm going to glue these 3 pieces together. So I'm going to start by, I always like to build from the bottom up. I love how there's still some white showing through the green cardstock. And I'm going to glue this piece onto the card base as well. Oh, love how that looks. Love it. So as I was putting my card together, I realized that there is no resting place for the eye. So I brought in a second piece of textured cardstock. This one measures 2/7 by 4.5. And this also is going to give me some room to add this cute little Noël sentiment on the card. And I cut it longer than larger. So the piece is going to get layered with the image, and then that leaves me just enough room to put the Noël at the bottom. So I'm going to glue it first, just so I know exactly where to stamp the sentiment. And I'm going to leave an equal border on the top and on the sides. And I've already gone ahead and swatched the Noël on an imaging sheet that's part of the Stamp-A-Majig tool. And first I'm going to put just a bit of temporary adhesive to the back of this so it sticks to my mat so that nothing moves. I'm going to put the imaging sheet right here. Put the jig, remove this, and add some blue ink to the Noël. And this sentiment is just perfect because it's a little bit sketchy. Sketchy in the sense that the lines are sketched, and that just goes and meets with the look of our tree. And there it is. I like that. And now I can pop this onto the card base and it looks a little bit more appealing to me visually. Okay, next I want to add the ribbon to the top of the card, and for this I'm just going to open it up, slide that in between, and then just tie it into a knot. Like so. I'll snip the ends properly. I'll open up the card and I'll slide this sort of like on the fold, and I'll add a glue dot right underneath the knot of the card. Like this. Next I've got these gorgeous gems. They're called Facet Cuts by Dress It Up, and it's in the color 17 or 17. And they're just beautiful. They have a purple bluish reflection to them. And I'm going to use Glistening Snow Rider by Deco Art to add a bit of snow and also to glue those gems down. This stuff applies white and it dries clear with amazing glitter. Right. And then I'm going to create some snow on the ground. So there's a card, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like once it is dry. Ta-da! It's finished and it's all dry, so I'm going to give you a close-up. All that glitter over here, the clear embossed. Love that background as well that I did with the stamp pad on a textured cardstock. The tree all glittery, lots of shine. And that is our card. So there's a few tricks here that hopefully you've learned from. As usual, thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below, and I will see you on Friday.